Good morning. All right. Oh, markets are up here a bit, and really no big deal so far. Maybe better that they're up a little after yesterday's reversal. So we were up higher in the day, and obviously it sold off. There was the news in the middle of the day. Markets dropped like a rock around here and recovered a little bit, but ended the day with a topping tail, which suggests lower prices. Just looking at the overall pattern, this sideways move at resistance. At this time, it was bullish. We had a red bar ignored. And then last Friday, there was the gap up. And that's what prompted my thought, could this possibly be a bull trap? And it turned out to be. In the short term, it's maybe this pattern could survive, but the depth of this move lower under this support point suggests lower. So the question becomes, is this an upside shakeout, which becomes a more, let's say, detailed pattern of the sideways consolidation, the breakout that fails, and then sideways where, it's at the support, but it can't rally. The day is young, maybe it does. So the ability to get back up to this high and actually close there or above it, it still could be an upside shakeout, but we don't get the immediate follow through to the topping tail, which kind of makes it continue to be neutral and puts into question whether this can go down or not. And we'll just have to wait until next week to see if this consolidation continues, or is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? So from a swing trading point of view, with this pattern, obviously, maybe not so obvious to some, we sit on our hands because we have to wait for this to either produce a big candle, and none of these are considered big candles, that would give us guidance to some type of follow through. So we'll see where this ends. Now, the dotted blue line is the open here. So if prices can get below that, and you can see obviously they're up, they're above the open, it's a green candle. So intraday, if prices can come down here and get below it, that'll change the bias from neutral to short-term bearish. Maybe we get a test of this low. Maybe it gets ugly. I just don't know. But a short bias or expectation for going lower at this point isn't supported as long as prices are above the opening price. And that's just generally the way I look at the markets and individual stocks, that if they're above the open, that's a starting point for a bullish bias, and below the open, a bearish bias. And then from there, well, what's to the left? How much room does it have to drop, or how much room does it have to go up? And right now, well, I should say intraday, room up to the prior swing high here, that resistance area could be tradable. But as far as a larger move, we don't have a price pattern to support an expectation for a larger move. So a neutral opening here, and kind of a coin flip which way it's going to go. I guess a little bit more to the upside to this resistance. Right now, it's just consolidating right in the middle of the range. Qs. So they came down to this support area here. And interesting, you don't always see this, but because of this, I guess just the way it came down so sharply and went up as sharply as it did, and now consolidating here, you've got an interesting situation of these converging moving averages in one place. And, it kind of leads you to think that if all three moving averages are converging, that must be an amazing reference point of support. Well, if we look to the left and see what's there, there is that support of these overlapping bars. So we always have to look to the left and confirm what I call a subjective reference point of these converging moving averages. Since these are so widely used by institutions and many traders, a 20, the green one, the 50, and the red one, the 200 simple moving averages, you're going to have a lot of people looking at that as, hey, if that breaks, this thing's going to tank. Probably hits 8,000, which is in alignment with here, but could open up the door to a much bigger move because this is where the void is. Wide range bar, you've got this momentum move here. Right now, just same story as the S&Ps, neutral. Topping tail, it's not following through it at the moment. If it can break down through the open, yeah, there's a little support there, but that begins to weaken the whole picture and opens up what? A move down to here? Not a big deal either. So the expectation for today, sure, we have day trading opportunities between relatively close reference points, but there's probably better opportunities maybe in individual stocks. Prior high up here, so far it's holding. You got a little red bar ignored there. Could suggest a measured move up. Just not a great setup here. But, just based on the fact that it is above the open, it's holding here for the moment. You got a red bar ignored. Maybe it pops up there. But it is the type of situation that could whipsaw you anyway. So I just don't have great setups here at the moment. I'd like to see it go down, Paul. You're saying I sound neutral to bearish, and well, I am, because you've had this correction that started, but buyers are holding it. Again, we've got the topping tail. We had the sell-off yesterday on the GILD news, and the markets went down, and, oil was all over the place again. And so there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And this is exactly what this pattern is telling us. There's uncertainty. Everybody's kind of sitting back saying, you know what? The dailies look like they're at a turning point. Maybe so. We don't have the turn yet. This has been a strong move up. Is the economy going to be turned back on again? And if that does, everybody's going to be excited to get back to their normal lives, and people go back to work and money starts flowing again, other than these little checks from the government that most people are probably going to spend in a blink of an eye. So things getting back to normal, maybe things, people waiting where they are. So yeah, just based on the weekly time frame and that bull trap that had happened most clearly on the S&Ps. Yeah, I'd like to see prices go down and pull back, whether it's excuse me, to here, or maybe it makes a higher low at 8,000 or whatever it's going to do. But this sideways chop here doesn't do us as active traders and investors a whole lot of good. The Dow, it's been weaker, like the S&Ps. You had the breakout failure, the break under support, and now just this sideways price action. And so, little narrow range, same pattern on the hourly chart, weaker on the weekly, and just in the perfect spot to roll over and retest the lows. Right. But we got to break this pivot, which is going to become a pivot very soon. And after this bar is complete, assuming it's a higher low, this will be marked as a pivot low at the end of the day. So same story, upside shakeout, right side of the pattern. Let's see if it'll break to the downside. We wait, right? This is, I am saying it every day, is about the most interesting pattern as we look at the futures, because it's actually neutral to bullish, right? It's been underperforming. Obviously the NASDAQ over here, it held up first. And we looked at this where the S&Ps broke down. This actually held pretty well. And then it had this pullback, and it ran up, and now it's just been sitting there doing nothing. And you can see how tight it is here. So it's got that kind of a look of, it's getting a little extended as far as the bull flag pattern, but it's got that look of the momentum move up, and it should have went over here already. So it's questionable. Nonetheless, it's I guess the most neutral. It hasn't broken down that badly, and so I'm really not sure. Kind of the fly in the ointment here of the others setting up as that upside shakeout. Going to crude oil, that recent contract that went to minus $40. Now it's almost back to 20. It's at resistance. I look at the chart the same way, as crazy as it is, at a point where it should roll over. There's the next contract, which looks completely different. And, big wide range bar down, capitulation type of move, climactic, and it's just stabilized here. You can see the churn up on the 60-minute chart. So as I look at that, well, we've got two swing highs there and two swing lows, which creates a trading range. What are that going to do? I don't know. We're going to wait, see if it breaks the lows or whether it takes us out and heads up toward $22. Right? So what do? You just go in there, and well, that's how you do it here. In TC 2000, it's just a matter of clicking and say, there's the alert. But go in here, alert triggered, done. Which way does it go? We'll find out sometime during the day. Otherwise, better things out there to pay attention to. This isn't one of them. Bonds at resistance. They were there a week ago. Right? Then we saw them come down to support. They came back up. Trading range. Stay away. We'll see. Intraday, obviously it moves around, but just chopping around inside bars, more uncertainty. Everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen. Right? We going back to work? You're going to keep us locked up for another whatever. So gold up here a little bit. So it had this deep retracement, and now it's popped back up. And I'm not sure what it's going to do. Right? It could be an M top. It's at resistance. It's in an uptrend. So it's strong. It's in a tough area. So it's another one. Stay away. Maybe some sideways price action next week could get it pushing up through this resistance area. It's up above there. I'm just scrunching that all up there. But that's where we're at, right against here. And so far, it's holding up relatively well. Right. And silver, what we got here, same story as we look at the daily and weekly charts. Sit on your hands. There's no big opportunities here as we look at these markets and futures that tell us that, hey, an event has happened here that suggests prices are going to move in one direction or the other with some conviction. We just don't have it. So it's just one of those times where it is what it is, and we wait, Raphael is asking me, yesterday I saw you at Summer 365. Congratulations. It was really impressive. Thank you, Raphael. And Oliver asked me about gold, which I just covered, Oliver. So maybe I missed your question there, but there you have it. It's coming up to resistance there. So obviously it's slowing down as it reaches that reference point there. Alex in the green room is saying, I'm talking to the YouTubers as well, they can't see, let's buy millions of General Electric today and take control of the company. I wonder how many shares are outstanding, but wow. I mean, that got killed like everything else, but it was looking really like it had turned the corner. It really did over here, retesting and that power move up and the bullish consolidation. It was at resistance, but this Corona thing just destroyed so much. And this just hasn't bounced. So obviously GE has a lot of problems ongoing. And it's another, just stay away. But I mean, if it starts breaking down through here, you know, who knows? Can you imagine GE? Maybe it's going to $2 or $3. Who knows? Anyway, set an alert. Maybe it gets above $7 and it's got a nice big move there. It's something that we'd want to know about. So obviously, yeah, set an alert down there at $7, when it's $6, and wait to see. Ford, yeah, terrible. Yeah. All righty, guys. So that's the long and short of it. Things are relatively neutral here. There's some stocks moving. Interesting, you know, Intel's down. I was surprised. Well, it did go down yesterday. News of, was it Apple not using their chips any longer? And SPX levels, kind of tough. Well, maybe not so tough, right? So above 2,900 and below 2,700. And we just have to keep an eye on how things are moving intraday. So I would say that those are our reference points for call spreads and put spreads. Looking for prices to just stay in the middle, right? Stay in the middle. Yeah. Paul's saying no premium. He's already looked. So if you want the premium, I guess you got to get a little closer to the danger. So, MESO's up big. Yeah, that's right here up. You know, if you want to chase that puppy up there. Anyway. And Zoom's up again. Zoom. All righty, Dan. It's all yours, my friend. JR's asking about Facebook, Dan.
Yeah, I was laughing at what you said on the premiums. You said you got to get closer to danger.
It's the truth. You want to trade credit spreads and you want premium, get closer to the danger. Put your head in the guillotine.
I'm gonna have to use that quote. All right. Yeah, we'll look at everything. And, you know, we have a put spread in this Zoom, and, you know, too bad I didn't give it as a directional, because it was a beautiful gap setup. 10, 15-minute high. It was great. Look at that. Well, it's actually extended pre-market. You know, ran $4 or $5 or so, and then I don't know. So we're in a put spread that looks fantastic. Let's look at opens here in the weekly options trader, APA. We're short these $7 naked puts, so that'll expire at full profit today. And we also have a long stock directional where we've sold 2/3 of our position into strength. Marriott, we have a put spread for next week. McDonald's put spread for today. We just need, it's the 180, 175. We just need that melting ice cube to just hold and let it melt into the close. Netflix, we started with a call spread on earnings gap down, and then with yesterday's strength, this is what we call an adjustment strategy, where we converted our way out of the money. We have the 450, 460 call spreads that expired today. And then with the morning strength yesterday, we sold an out of the money put spread, and that's what's called an Iron Condor. So as long as it stays between those wide strikes, we make, let's see, the total premium we took in is now $2.20, and that's full profit, which as of right now looks fantastic. So that looks great. RCL, we sold a put spread yesterday. It's not ready for a long, in my opinion. It needs more of a something, but I like the weekly consolidation there in the wide range bar. And I like, you know, it was perking a little bit yesterday. So we have a put spread. Finally, the Zoom that I just mentioned, put spread. We have a lot of opens in the swing and options trader. ADP, we have what's called a covered put, short stock, short put. Aflac, short stock. APA, I mentioned. BC, we entered this bad boy yesterday, just beautiful breakout. And we sold, I think a half right under this tail. And so we still have half. BLMN, another little ascending triangle breakout, long stock, CNK, long stock in the oil patch. CPA, we bought the breakout. Hershey, short. We have a covered put again, which, as I said, short stock, short out of the money put. Hexel, short stock on the breakdown. And, you know, when these things are so extended, we got it similar to love. We got to be careful that it's not a breakdown failure. So we'll still trade them, but with tighter stops. RGB, a beat up restaurant or long stock. Tilray. Tilray, we have a covered call, and I gave an adjustment. Let me give it to you all here in the room. Now, I think I'll do a lesson on this over the weekend, Greg, because this is a fantastic example of all of our profit. We entered this trade 2 weeks ago at $6.81, and it's $6.89 right now on the gap up. So it's like dead money. We're only up 8 cents, but our cost basis from selling 2 weeks of covered calls, our cost basis is $6. So do the math. And we're short the $7 out of the money calls. So we're now up 89 cents in 2 weeks. 89 cents divided by 680 is, just in my head, what's that, 12%. So we converted a 0 return to a 12% return in 2 weeks. It's fantastic. Are you all asking me a question or just chatting among yourselves? All right, let me continue here. Michael Jackson, we're long that, but that's been dead money. Twitter long stock, it's a 1, 2, 3 that we can add over yesterday's high. Finally, Uber, we did a half lot on the breakout. That's it for opens. Let's look at gappers now and anything else you all want to. 1236, big gap up, but this looks like a Corona gapper, no pattern. APT, I like this over yesterday's high. We actually, some of us entered early on the breakout into the afternoon. I personally sold the $14 puts that expire today. Kevin, if you can move your drop down, please. Meso 15, the gap's too big. What do you want me to do with that? I mean, we don't trade that. I mean, if it were gapping like right here, 765, then target might be 9, but it's just, to us, there's absolutely nothing to do with that. The Mo 9, now that one's better. Yesterday was a better entry. Gap up coming in, kind of a 1, 2, 3, broke out over all these tails. That one's worth watching on a pullback, Kevin. PSTI, I mentioned, it's too big, nothing to do with that. Kroger, Kroger on the breakout I like. I'll write that down, sure. YouTube's asking about Facebook. That's not Facebook. Facebook was a beautiful trade the last 2 days. Right now, it closed with a topping tail. It's getting tired on the 15. You know, it's under the 20 right now, including the pre-market data. A lot of air under here if the market starts to sell off. So I don't know what to do with that. Today is 0 DTE day, our favorites. So I love it. And hey, next Wednesday, that's going to be the subject for MT Live. So yeah, Greg, let's try to find some good patterns here to not only trade today, but to put in the webinar. YouTube is asking about APA. I already talked about it. The question was, will it hold? I have no idea what that means. YouTube, will it hold? I don't know what that means. We're long the stock and we're just in trail mode. It's gapping up. It's in an uptrend on the 15. It broke out. We're just in trail mode. So I don't know what hold means. If you do, Greg, tell me. Ganga, would you favor? Well, you know the answer to that. I'll tell you in 15 to 30 minutes. I personally like starting with a bias on one side. Look at Zoom making a new high here, pre-market. So I'll tell you in 15 minutes, Ganga. But this is like a little sell setup pre-market. So if we start to weaken, then I'm going to start with the call spread. If we go sideways here and take out a 15-minute high, then I'm going to start with the put spread. So yeah, we'll be talking about that in MT Live about legging in. Hertz here. I said last week this thing looks like a dead animal, and they're in the news saying they need money. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, not only is Uber killing the rental car business, but now no one's traveling. I mean, that's a perfect storm for these rental car companies going to bankruptcy. It's just common sense to me. FHB, bottoming pattern. I got no interest. You all know I'm always trying to winnow out the watch list items so I don't get too distracted. 670, I don't know. Even if it does turn around at 30 minutes, you can't focus on too much. This one's gone. AXP earnings up a little bit, but sloppy at yesterday's high. Got no interest. Oh, AN, AutoNation. That surely looks better than Hertz, but they sell cars. They don't rent them. Tim, a couple questions here on YouTube. Tim, Amba long watch. Sure, if it can break out. Yeah, it's kind of, we, when things are in a coma trading range like that, we like what we call a something bar or an event. We need something to say, now it's ready. Otherwise, it's subject to false breakouts. So sure, it's a watch, but there's no real something. And if you overlay it over the broader markets, the broader markets have been going up. This thing hasn't. So that is relative weakness. Mike's asking about Apple. And folks, it helps us answer you if you are a little bit more specific on the question, because otherwise I'm just talking. So daily on Apple, at close with a topping tail, you got overhead resistance. Tuesday's low is support. 15-minute chart, downtrend, but on support. I mean, it's a mess. I don't know what to do with this. It could be, if it takes out a 15-minute high and the market's 15-minute high, it could be a put spread. Under yesterday's low, it's a call spread. And I'm talking 0 DTEs, none of it for next week. Marsh is asking about FLIR. All right, the bell's going to go off any minute, so don't be scared. Hey, let me mute it. There. Fleur had a beauty. Yeah. Oh, I muted it on one computer, not on the other. All right. So Fleur, this is what we call a wide range igniting bar out of a consolidation. So that was a fantastic bar, and I was all over it, but I thought it had earnings the next day, which is why I stayed out of it. But if it can come back, it's right in the area where it should turn. You got a sell setup though on the weekly chart, but if it can turn and maybe give you a bottoming tail, then Monday over today's high, it could be a trade. Caesar Caesar's another one. I mean, it needs some oomph. It needs oomph, but you've heard me tell Alex on a number of these, even without the oomph, if you're getting in on the basement floor, then I'm okay with that. You know, it's either going to work or not. You got a tight stop in the FANG department. Let's see.